Hello and welcome. I'm Bruce. This is Speed and Color. I'm going to introduce you to somebody today. A lot of you may know him if you're in the Calgary area. If you don't, if you're not in the Calgary area, if you've never met him at an event or anything, this is a guy that I think we all need to know. Steve Grover from Grover Law Firm. And you know, I'm going to tell you, I hope that every motorcycle community, local motorcycle community, has a Steve Grover and a Grover Law in their area. Man, this guy does so much for our community. You know, he really does. Boy, whether it's organizations or events or, you know, bike nights or you name it, if it's around motorcycles, Grover Law is interested in being a part of it and is a part of so much of it, I can't believe it. I've gotten to know Steve this summer, got to know him even more in this, call it an interview, conversation, whatever. And I'll tell you, this guy, he is, he's possibly the most average, exceptional person I know. Steve is just, he's genuine, he's honest, he's generous, he really likes people. You know, if you can catch him at an event or something, he loves to talk, and all the groups and organizations that he works with, I think, would say the same thing. Steve just wants to sit down and get to know you and talk to you and everything. He has an incredible ethic around community and giving back that was instilled in him by his parents, mainly his father. I really was impacted by the way he talks about his dad. Steve and I share a lot of common ground, and I think we share some common ground in our fathers and how we looked up to them and the things they taught us and all that kind of stuff. So I just you know, he got this message from his dad that it's a privilege to do well in this world. It's a privilege to get an education, and when you get that privilege, you should give back. And I was just so impressed with that. I really can't say enough. So a good guy. He's got a great sense of humor, although it is a little bit quirky. Perhaps another area of common ground that he and I share. But all in all, Steve Grover is just a great guy. I really enjoy him. I hope you'll enjoy him too and get to know him. And please, if you see Grover Law at an event or if they're involved with your organization, if you get a chance, take a minute, go over, introduce yourself to Steve and have a chat with him and thank him for everything he does for the community. Okay, let's get on to the episode. Don't forget, subscribe, follow, like, comment. Man, we need it all. I would love to get some more subscribers to the YouTube channel. So if you don't mind, go ahead and just tap that subscribe button. All right, thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. We'll see you soon. Enjoy the episode. Well, I'm here with a fellow, I won't say he's a good friend yet, but he's getting to be a good friend. Steve Grover, how are you?
Hi, Bruce. How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
Yeah.
Steve has joined me. I'm very impressed with what Steve does for the local motorcycle community. And when I say local, that appears to be growing and growing all the time. So I appreciate what Steve does. I'm impressed with what he does. And Steve had me on his podcast, or it's actually the Bulldog Brewhouse podcast.
Well, now we changed it.
did you?
We changed it to podcast because the analytics in Google won't pick up paw. So we can't get traction, so we changed it back from podcast to podcast. Just to let you know, okay?
So we're back to a podcast, and we'll talk about Steve's dogs in a minute and stuff. But anyway, Steve had me on his show. We had a good time. Steve and I have met at other events, and I think we have some common ground. We're enjoying each other's company, and he said, so when do I get to be on your podcast? And I agreed it would be a good idea for us to sit down and have a conversation. Just so you know, we are going to have a casual conversation here today about Steve and about Grover Law and the community and what's going on. And in a couple of weeks, we're going to record another episode with Steve about the Grover Law Harley Davidson. What is that?
It's called the Cherry. CHRY. So it's like my vision of a Harley Davidson, and with Grover Law Firm and a funky cherry color. And obviously, I got to incorporate one of my bulldogs, Winston. He's the main dog. He's the motorcycle logo dog. So we got Winston. So it's my bike. I mean, no matter what people think, it's still Grover Law Firm's bike. Right. It was my vision, and we put it into place. Cool.
So it's a bagger, a very cool bike. If you haven't seen it, it's just spectacular. It's full on custom. I think they did a great job with it. I have some remote connection to it, and we'll get into that when we do the episode. It involves the paint, but we can talk about that later. So that episode will be coming up after this one. Steve, let's start with a little bit of background on you. Where were you born? Where are you from? What's your deal?
Well, I was obviously born in Calgary, the best city in Canada, and and obviously Alberta is the best province. I mean, I was born in the Holy Cross, so that can probably tell you how old I am. Okay, right. So that hospital is no longer. Yeah. So I was born and raised in Calgary. And then my parents, they couldn't stand me, so they shipped me off to boarding school on the island. So I went to a place called Shawnigan Lake. And it was a bad boys school back in the late 80s and 90s, and now it's a super prep school. So they have a very good hockey team, rugby team, Canadian rowing team is training out of there. My nephew, Jackson, I think he's 14 now. He's out there now. And it was a good experience to go out because I went out at age 14, and you learn to be independent. And I think that's a big thing that my parents gave us is like, we're with the Grover family, but in the day, mom and dad can't be here forever, and you got to make your own way in life. So I think that was a good learning experience.
So that was 14 when they shipped you out?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, that's cool.
Yeah. So he had to get up at like 6 and have a shower and go to the cafeteria for breakfast and start class at 9. And it was a typical. Have you ever seen the movie Dead Poet Society?
Yes.
Okay, typical prep boarding school. Nice blazer, good education. I don't think I appreciated it, and I went back for my 30th anniversary, and it was enlightening to see the school and how far they've come and it's just, I think now looking back, it was a privilege to go there. But, at the end of the day, it was a privilege my parents gave me. But obviously, when you're like in your teens, you don't accept anything your parents do at all. But then they obviously came back to Calgary. And the one thing I didn't like about Vancouver Island is the damn weather. From October to March, they have that low cover lane, and it's rain. It's muddy, and you don't see the sun for 6-7 months. I don't know. Have you lived out in the island at all?
I have not, and I don't think I could.
Okay. Yeah. It's beautiful. Like Victoria, we're like 45 minutes away from Victoria. But it was a real boarding school where you had to pretty much be there on campus. Yeah.
And it is beautiful. I've been out there. Yeah. I just don't think I could handle the wet weather.
No, me neither.
That's why I'm in Calgary. The only place better than this would be the desert. So,
or Miami if you can handle the hurricanes.
Where did you study law?
Down in Texas, in Dallas. So I went to school. I wanted to get out of Canada, and fortunately, my parents, we had the opportunity to go down the U.S. and I studied there. But I was going to stay down there. Then my dad got sick, and I'm the oldest of 4 siblings. I got 3 younger sisters, all living in the Calgary area and Banff area, and it was my responsibility to come back for Dad. And unfortunately, like 3 years later, after he came back, he passed on. But I was there for him his last 3 years, and I made the right decision to come back to Calgary.
Right.
I love Calgary. I've been across Canada. Obviously, I'm licensed in other jurisdictions. I'm licensed in New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, the Yukon, Northwest Territories. I've done some cases in BC, but at the end of the day, I still love Alberta. We got the best tax structure in Canada, North America, corporate structure. The cost of living is still reasonable.
Right.
And it's I think it's heaven on earth living in Alberta.
Cool.
Yeah.
I don't want to hit a nerve. Your dad is gone now, isn't it?
Yeah. He passed away 20 years ago.
Oh, okay. So it's quite a while
ago. Yeah.
How old would he have been?
Oh, he's only 63. Yeah.
Yeah. My dad was 54.
Okay.
So I know what it's like to lose them
early
at a
on.
young age.
Yeah, I wasn't young. I was 30, but I know it hit my younger sisters. Maya was in medical school. I think Daniel, my second sister was, I think she was in her 3rd year of law school at University of Alberta. So it hit them hard. And, he was a very pillar in the family. And my mom and dad, typical, Canadian family. Dad would work, and mom was a nurse. My dad was a doctor, surgeon here in Calgary. He worked out of the General until Ralph Klein blew that place up.
Right.
That was hasta la vista. And then they shipped him to PLC, Peter Lougheed. And then he was the old school kind of doctor where he had hospital privileges and he had a family practice too.
Okay.
And then mom was a nurse, but then she'd always take care of the house, and so. It's a little different now when I go to my friends' houses. Like I go in the living room, there's toys everywhere, and there's pizza boxes and Coke and everything, and kids are screaming. I mean, when you came to the Grover house, it was always clean and very disciplined and consistent and. Mom.
And your mom, is she still with us?
No, she passed on about almost 10 years ago too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so unfortunately, both my parents died very young, but. They lived their life so they wanted the way they wanted to. Yeah. And and I think it was important for both my sisters and I to be independent and parents. It's guaranteed people are going to die. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? And there's not a day that I don't think about my mom and dad when I wake up or go to bed. But they would want us to all go on with our lives, and that's the whole purpose.
I'm sure those memories. There's fondness.
Oh yeah,
and good memories there. Or not,
and I got to get credit. I mean, we're doing a lot of stuff in the motorcycle community, and running a legal practice here in Calgary. But I got to give 98% of my credit to my parents. It's always the upbringing, the culture they raised in you, the values, the morals. Right. So I have to give a lot of credit to my parents.
Well, evidently they did a good job.
Yeah. I hope so.
Yeah, there you go. I was going to ask you, you're a pretty sharp guy.
Well, I don't know about that.
Well, you seem to be. Okay. You seem to be a sharp guy. I'm guessing you had options. Why law?
Oh, no, there wasn't any. In the Grover family with dad, dad and mom, there's only 2 options. So there's 4 of us. I was the oldest and I had 3 younger sisters. And essentially mom and dad was the patriotic, man of the family. And there's only 2 options in our family. Either become a doctor or a lawyer. And that was it.
I was just going to say, was medicine one of the options?
Yeah, one of the options, yeah. And our dad, he expected me to be the doctor in the family, and I just didn't like sciences. And, looking back at now, I just didn't apply myself, and then all of a sudden in university, I grew up and said, okay, well, this isn't that hard to do well. You just do 10 to 20% harder than someone else in the class, and you'll get the A's and the B's, you know.
Okay.
And I've learned you just have to push yourself a little bit more than the average person, and you'll be successful, you know.
That's cool that you don't consider law to be tough. Good for you.
Well, it is tough.
See, I told you I thought you were an intelligent guy.
But like, at the end of the day, like, this is the thing, is like, you got to have a job, okay? Especially, you know, we don't live in a communist society, and obviously, you know, communism doesn't really work in Soviet Union and China. I mean, you look at, I've been to Shanghai. I don't know if you've been to Shanghai at all.
I have not.
I went there in 2018. Took a friend, and we went to he was a big Formula One race fan, and fortunately for me, he speaks Mandarin. So we went to Shanghai for about 10 days, and it's supposed to be communism, and you can feel communism, and the red flag is everywhere with the gold stars. Mm-hmm. But our hotel was right off Nangqi Road, which is sort of like the Stephen Avenue of downtown Shanghai. And you walk down the road, and, well, here's Cartier, here's Louis Vuitton, here's Starbucks. This is not communism, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
We stay in a very nice hotel, and you know, the restaurants are way more expensive than Calgary. And but you know, at the end of the day, my point is you got to. The government's not going to take care of you, and you know, you just got to get out there and work, and you know, you got to make your job fun. And most people, you know, they're there to collect a paycheck and go home. I mean, I just find that it's disappointing, and you know, you got to make life fun in general, because you're only here for a short time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Really, it is a short time.
Yeah, it is short time.
Yeah. Good. Mm-hmm. Good. So that kind of answers the next question I had for you. Mm-hmm. Is you've got this passion for motorcycles, but I don't know yet. I haven't seen you in action. Do you have mechanical skills?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got mechanical skills. I know how to put oil and gas in the gas tank, turn on the thing.
Well, you know, I'm kind of wondering. I was thinking about it.
I can change my own oil, and that's about it.
I wonder why Steve didn't go into the trades. Why he didn't become a
because that wasn't an option at all, my friend. No.
Okay.
It's either medicine or law, and you know, if you didn't do one of the two, you're out the door. And like, I did the math. It's cheaper for me to live at home and have Dad help with the bills.
Good plan.
Yeah.
Good plan. With your law firm, your practice, obviously, or I believe for a lawyer, there are a lot of options as to what kind of law you're going to practice.
Yeah.
Why personal injury?
Well, I mean, everyone goes to law school, and they want to work on Wall Street or Bay Street and be the big corporate merger and acquisition lawyer. And, you know, I went through my articles, and, you know, and then all of a sudden, like, Dad was a doctor, and, you know, you got accident, you know, they see injured people all the time, you know, big accidents. And he sent me a couple of files, and I said, this is kind of interesting because, I mean, I wasn't smart enough to be a doctor. Okay. I didn't get physics. Okay. But at the end of the day, I'm a lawyer, and I'm helping injured people. Right. And I'm trying to recreate their lives and put them in the same position as they were before the accident. And I thought, this is pretty cool. Like, you know, I'm not as smart as my dad. I'll never be as smart as Dad, but I can help people and learn medicine, and then also litigate their cases and get them compensation and get them out of this hole that they find themselves after an accident and get on with their lives.
That's really good. I like that.
Yeah. So when I was young, I think I was smarter when I was younger than now. I went and bought the Google URL helpinginjuredpeople.com. And then I gave it up, and some guy from the U.S. South just came and bought it right away, and it's all gone. So we came up, drove our law firm, and then just recently I was surprised that it was around. We got helpinginjuredriders.com.
Oh, cool.
And we bought this .ca too. So now we're using that as a URL on the motorcycle aspect. I think I was surprised it's available, hey, after 30 years.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and then we got supportinginjuredriders.com.ca. You know, we're just putting these aside, you know, because the most important thing is, you know, you can make money doing anything. And, you know, at the end of the day, I think it's interesting for me to, you know, people to come and be in an accident, and you see them at their worst situation ever. You know, all of a sudden, they got a broken leg, they lose their leg, they got a traumatic brain injury, and they don't know what to do. And a lot of the clients look at me. I'm not medically trained. I'm sorry, okay, but I know where you need to go to, and then we can litigate your case and rebuild your life and fight for you against the insurance company that caused the accident.
Right.
Yeah. So it's kind of a challenge, and the other thing I like about it is just the communication, talking to people. It's very interesting just to talk to people and get to know where they're from and different cultures. And, this guy's from Winnipeg, or this guy moved to Canada from Sudan. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say that's one thing I've noticed about you.
Yeah.
You like to talk to people.
Yeah, well, I got it from my dad. So I was very shy growing up. And then all of a sudden it's like, boom, the light came on. And it's just interesting because I'm interested, like I've traveled the world, and I took my dad's advice: when you're 30, travel, because when you hit 70, 80, good luck getting on the plane. You won't be getting on the plane. And then, I've gone to Africa, been to Asia, Eastern Europe, China, India. I just find it very interesting to try different foods and, see how other people live their lives. And at the end of the day, like my dad said, we're all human.
Yeah.
In India they eat curry, in Canada we eat beef and potatoes, but we all the same kind of people.
We all have to eat.
Yeah, yeah. Right. And we're all, we all want best for our family, and we all have emotions, and we get hurt, and we laugh and cry the same way.
Right.
Yeah.
So how am I going to ask this? How do personal injury and your love of motorcycles, do they tie together? What came first? Were you a personal injury lawyer first and then developed a passion for motorcycles, or how did that work?
No, I've always had a passion. Like, unfortunately, it's a terrible passion. I mean,
I don't think so.
Well, it is. If you look at my bank book and you don't my wife, there's another bike. Are you serious? Yeah. No, but my dad was into cars, and he was into motorcycles, and he was a Yamaha guy. He loved Yamaha. I don't know why, but it is a great bike.
Yeah.
And he had a number of Yamahas, and then I just followed the passion too, and riding motorcycles and dirt bikes when I was young. We had a little ranch out in Bragg Creek, and
okay, so you did get experience.
Oh yeah, yeah, a long time ago. Okay. Yeah, and then it's always been I've been fascinated with cars and then motorcycles, and just seeing the models develop and everything coming up, and it's like what came first, the chicken or the egg? I mean, obviously I was motorcycling before I went to law school, right. Correct? Right. And then all of a sudden, it's like, okay, this is, injury law and motorcycling, and it ties almost together. Does that make sense? And it makes your job fun. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because you have a passion about motorcycles, and you have a passion with helping injured people, and if you can make some money, and then later on as your practice develops, I mean, the step would be to give back to the community.
Right.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
And does your interest, we'll stop saying passion, but your interest, does it extend to cars?
Oh yeah, I love cars. Oh yeah.
I know you just got a truck not long ago.
Yeah, last year.
Special.
Yeah, I got the TRX 2023 Havoc Edition.
Right.
And then I'm looking at another car, and I got to stop it. No, I'm trying to figure out where to put this other car. I mean, everybody likes Ferraris and Lamborghinis. They're not very practical for Calgary at all.
No.
Okay, but the one car I'm looking at now is that Dodge Charger Hellcat.
Yeah.
The red eye.
Yeah.
And I just okay, do I really need this? No. And then, I don't think I'll get it this year, but yeah, Dad had a passion for cars. He had a 69 Stingray Corvette. Oh. That was his baby.
Yeah.
427 cubic engine, 390 horsepower, automatic. I mean, that was a thing back, T-bar roof. Yeah. That was a thing back then. And
what color?
Red. Yeah, red with a red interior, and he let me drive it. I crashed it a couple of times and cried, but it was I remember all the kids in the neighborhood stopping and wanting to take a ride with him. It was just a cool car. And then he was into Cadillacs and Lincoln Town cars, and then got into Jaguars and Mercedes, and he just had and then we would just, it was just interesting, he was a surgeon, so he'd do rounds at the General PLC, and then when I was young, we'd go. And I got my license, we just go to car dealers and, shoot the shit. And then he'd take a car out and we'd have it for the weekends. That's back when they gave you cars for the weekend. Now it's like, no, they want your second child before they let you test drive a car. So we just had a whole passion. We go to the auto shows, and I remember he took me to Bowness because there's a Lada dealership there, and it's like we had to go drive a Lada, and it's like, this is not, he's joking with me about buying it. No, I'm not buying this thing. But and then he'd drive a Skoda. He was just all over the board.
Just wanted to know about all of them.
Yeah, it's kind of cool though, because there's a lot of people, like, I'm a GM guy, and GM's got great trucks and cars, but go test a Lada. It's a Russian car, a Skoda. Or a Nissan. Just try that out. Or Tate Motors has cars. Just see what the other engineering is. And it's just fascinating to see how other cars are developed. And I mean, the Lada was pretty bad, during the Cold War.
Yes, it was. What was your first car?
Well, the first car I was allowed to drive was that '69 Vet.
But that wasn't yours.
No. My first car was a Nissan 240 SX.
Ooh.
Yeah, I wanted the 300, but I didn't have enough money for that, and I still have a passion for the 300. The one with the T-bar roof, and yellow in color. I'd buy. I may buy one day. I think that would be a cool summer car just to whip around in.
Right.
That's pretty my dream custom car. I mean, obviously, I like the Ford, Shelbys and stuff like that, but they're getting up there like $300,000-400,000.
They are.
Yeah.
Everything's getting expensive.
Yeah. Well, that's why they have financing now. Because probably same time, when you're growing up and I was growing up, everything was cash was king. Yeah. And now dealers don't want your cash because they make more money on the finance or leasing. Then you bring it back to the lot in 4 years and they flip that truck or car, make another $20,000 cash. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's all changed now.
So my first car was a 1972 Datsun 510.
Okay, so we both have passions for Nissan Datsun.
We do.
Yeah, because Datsun is Nissan now.
And the funny thing is, and I have to go stop in and take a look. I've looked, when I dropped Karen off at work on the way home, I've looked, and Country Hills Toyota, upstairs in the very back corner, you can see it through the window.
Yeah.
I'm sure they have a 510 with a roll bar and everything on it. Little rally car. And I've got to go over there and take a look, and I'll probably ask if it's for sale, and I shouldn't. I shouldn't go there at all. But I just have to know. There's not a lot of them left around.
No. And then the problem now is everything's going EV now. Those when I was younger, everything was V12s. I remember Dad got the Jaguar Vandam Plus. Remember those vehicles?
Yes.
Oh my God, that was a V12, and it was the one with the two gas tanks, one on the passenger side, one on the right side. And, that sucked gas, but it was pretty cool to have a V12. Yeah, but now everything's V8, and that's why I was looking at the Hellcat. But, they're all...
The Viper was a V12 as well.
Yeah, it was, yeah. I remember I lived in Vegas before I went to law school, and I saw Andre Agassi drive around in that. Because he's a Vegas boy, you know that, Andre?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was born and raised in Vegas. Yeah, so it was interesting.
You go to Vegas often?
I was there for the Super Bowl. We have a website, my SEO provider. I've always one of the bucket list things was always to go to Super Bowl. Okay. And all of a sudden, like it was $10,000 US to get a ticket. It's like, that's a lot of money. And all of a sudden, like, I'm in a mediation, and my SEO goes, "Hey, I got an extra ticket for the Super Bowl." Okay, I'm coming. Don't worry about that.
I saw your post on Instagram.
Yeah.
It looked like you were having a pretty good time.
It was very surreal. One of those things that, some people wanted to go to the monster truck competition or the UFC championship. For me, it was always the Super Bowl because it looks so flashy on TV, and I like the NFL, and I stayed at the Mirage, which is now closed now.
Yes.
So that opened like in the late 80s, and I remember I think that was one of the first hotels we stayed as a family when that opened, and that was huge. You remember the volcano and the Siegfried and Roy until the tiger bit off one of their heads? Yeah. That was in it.
And how was the Super Bowl?
Oh, it was good. I recommend going. Yeah, just once in your life. Okay. You can't, like, Usher played at halftime. I probably could hear him better at home on the TV, but just to be there and And then, and then the way they won the game was just like epic. And then I'm not a Niners fan. I'm sorry. I like the Cowboys. So I gotta hate the Niners. And I know they got some good players like Jerry Rice and Joe Montana, but Kansas City's got Mahomes, and he did that last overtime drive and found the guy in the corner, and everything, all the confetti went everywhere, and there's partying, and all the Niners fans were crying, and I'm a Cowboys fan. Because remember in the 80s and 90s, the Cowboys and Niners had those big rivalries going on.
Yeah.
Dwight Clark the catch in the back to send them the first Super Bowl. So yeah, I would recommend going. I mean, Vegas is just like, I know the city like the back of my hand, like Calgary, and it's just nice to go. And I was with a good group of guys, and they enjoyed it. And we had decent seats. It wasn't great, but I like being up on the upper bowl so I can see how the play comes out.
Right.
And then after that, we had some good dinners and a little gambling, and then came home. But it was just one of those trips that you always dreamed about doing. And it ended up in Vegas, like of all places, a Super Bowl.
Yes.
Yeah. So it was fun.
Yeah, we enjoy Vegas. We get down there fairly often.
Okay. Is there a certain place you stay?
We've got a timeshare.
Oh, that's nice. So are you on the Strip or off?
Just over by the link.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know where that is. Yeah. Nowadays, it doesn't matter where you stay.
No.
It's like you can walk everywhere, and hotels are hotels. And
like you say, you get to know the town.
Yeah.
And you get to know the areas outside of the core.
Well, you just stay away from north
restaurants and find shops and stuff that are really a lot of fun.
Well, as long as you stay from North Las Vegas, that's where the hardcore Vegas is.
Yeah.
North of Fremont, and Fremont Street's pretty. They've cleaned it up. It's kind of a little nasty still.
It's pretty popular.
Yeah.
A lot of people want to go to Fremont Street.
Yeah.
I don't know that I get it for me, but okay, whatever. So getting back to what I started with, your support of the motorcycle community is impressive.
Yeah, you're impressed by it?
Absolutely, and I think I speak for everybody in the community when I tell you we appreciate it.
Okay,
it's
thanks.
Really cool.
Yeah.
I see this year, it looks to me like you've diversified a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe if I can use the term, it looks like you're going broader rather than deeper with your support.
Yeah.
Is that your strategy? Where's Grover Law going?
Yeah, at the end of the day, we want to support the motorcycle community. And, we, like my dad always taught me in business, don't put all your eggs in one basket. It doesn't make sense. And, I think we are still deeper and we're broader. And, we want to spread the love throughout the whole motorcycle community. And we just don't want to support one group. I mean, I think there's more to it. Like, look involved in Fresh Start. I mean, we got back involved with Fresh Start because, everybody knows in society someone that's been affected by addiction.
Yeah.
Everybody. Like, I know somebody, you know somebody, and it breaks your heart to see someone's life go to ruin because of cocaine or alcohol. Yeah. And they do a good support group, and we're involved in their, I think it's called the Scavenger Run this year, and we're the second stop, and we'll be there for them. And, then you got bikers, our buddies, and, you got AAA, All Against Abuse. I love John Graham. He's such a funny guy. He's a maritime boy. Right. And, him and I hit it off right away, just joking around like the boys. You know what I'm saying? And then obviously, we support the motorcycle shops in town, the small ones, the big ones, and the large ones. And there's one down in Lethbridge I'm interested in, is Bikers Against Human Trafficking. I don't know if you've heard of that group.
No.
They had a little booth at Two Sunday, and it's very interesting. Like when I was at the Super Bowl, I went to the Luxor, the pyramid. I go in the washroom and close the door, and it's like, if you see human trafficking report, call this number. Like,
is that right?
Yeah, like it's interesting, and I studied a little bit about it. when I came back from Vegas, and it looks like there's more people in slavery now than ever before. And the human trafficking issue is just massive right now, and it's very pathetic. You know what I'm saying? And
I didn't realize it was that significant. I ran into a guy at Born Free. Karen and I went down to Born Free in June, and there was a fellow we wound up sitting with, having a beer with him and his wife. And he was telling me that he is part of a club or organization. I guess you shouldn't call them clubs. And this is exactly what they're doing. But being that he's in Texas, he said the biggest problem is the Mexican mafia.
Oh, I know, the cartel.
That's who they're up against. And he was telling me some stories about stuff they've done to free people, and
but the problem with the cartel,
to stand up to those guys. And he said it gets pretty tense, pretty scary.
Yeah, well, and you study about it in the cartel. I mean, you sell a key of cocaine, it's gone. But you traffic a woman. I mean, unfortunately, she can do the things 4 or 5 times a night, every night. Right. I mean, they're just making money hand over fist, and it's pretty pathetic that in this day and age of the U.S. Constitution and freedom of rights and all this stuff, that people are still getting trafficking for money. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a shame.
And then obviously there's Too Cool Motorcycle School. I got to give a shout out for Trevor Deck. He's always been, he's been my boy, standing beside me, good times, bad times. His wife Lan, she's great. Yeah. There's just a bunch of good groups out there, and Two Wheel Sunday with Bobby Baum. I mean, we're always there to help him out.
What's the deal? Is Bobby back?
Yeah, I think Bobby is. Like I think Bobby's back. So we'll see. Hopefully, he comes back, and
we'll have to have that as a slogan. Right, Bobby's back. Yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously I love Ducati, so we support the Ducati rally out in Nelson, and Chris Spears is the gentleman that puts that together all by himself. He just does a bang up job, and then there's also Leanne Langau with AMSS in Edmonton. Yep. And then she put on the Triumph Rally, and we showed up for that to support her. So
she's been doing that for a long time.
Yeah. She said at the banquet dinner, 10 years be it, and she's not going to quit. So, but there's just a lot of people to get to know of, and you can't be friends for everybody. You know what I'm saying? But in the end of the day, we're here to help everybody out and support them and see where we can go.
It appears you're doing a really good job of trying to be friends with everybody.
No, we're just trying to, spread the love. But at the end of the day, you can't be everyone's friend. That's the way it is. And some people may think, he's got this cherry bike. It's like, well, it's a show bike. I'll admit that. If you and I went down to LA on a road trip, I wouldn't take cherry. I'd probably take like a Tenere 7, a Yamaha. I have one of those, or even like a Triumph bike or something like that. Or I've got a lowrider ST, take that. But I definitely wouldn't take a custom show bike down to LA and back. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Very good. Yeah. What about Grover Law Bike Nights? Because you've had the first one now, and I would say it was pretty successful for a first outing. I was very impressed, and I'll share this with you. I was very impressed that the Nigerian bikers in Alberta, is that their name?
Yeah.
I sat and talked with those guys, and I say that because I'm going to get them on the podcast.
Yeah, you should. Yeah.
Some of my neighbors here are Nigerian, and we've made wonderful friends with them. They're wonderful people. But I also now have... that sounds terrible the way I'm saying that, but I have a lot of friends who are East Indian, who are Sikh, and just like you, traveling the world, one of the things I'm really enjoying now about Calgary and about Canada's culture and mosaic is all these different people that I can be friends with and learn about their culture and possibly help them with ours.
Yeah.
And I think it's wonderful in the motorcycle community because you work with Big Land.
Oh yeah. No Invite now. I don't know. That's a big Filipino riding group up in Edmonton now.
Okay, that's the Edmonton one.
So they're saying is no bike, no invite. So if you don't have a bike, you don't get invited to their group.
I wondered what that was about.
Yeah, and Bose is the president up there, and I saw him on Saturday. We went for I took him out for lunch at Tropica, Malaysia. So if you're ever, do you like Malaysian food? Ever tried Malaysian food?
Yeah.
Have you ever been to Tropica? It's on Calgary Trail up in Edmonton.
Yes, I've been to that.
Yeah. I think it's awesome food.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's great.
Yeah, it's not as spicy as East Indian food, and it's not as heavy as Chinese food, but it's right in the middle. And it's better than Thai food. And so Saturday we went up and met with those boys and took them out for lunch and just had a good time. It just like I just can't stick. I think like the Nigerian riders, I met them a year ago, and then all of a sudden, like, okay, I didn't see them again, and then all of a sudden, I'm at the caddy rally, and like my wife's saying, like, we're just hanging out with ourselves with our daughter, like, are you going to talk to some guys? And then I saw Blair Hogue. I don't know if you're familiar with Blair, but he was just on
the name.
Yeah, he was just on my podcast. He had a major head injury.
That's
in an accident, and then all of a sudden and then I met these, the Nigerian riders again, and we sat at the same table and we just had a good old time that whole evening. And then I said, listen, come to our bike night. And they showed up, and I was so happy to see them.
Right.
Yeah. So,
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's great. The motorcycle thing is getting more diverse and more interesting, and thank you for making those people feel welcome. I think.
Well, it should be. I mean, this is the whole point of Canada. Like, I mean, unfortunately, I know indigenous people are here, but if you read history, they came over the Bering Sea from Asia, and thousands of years ago came to Canada, and Christopher Columbus. Well, then I think it's the Vikings found in Newfoundland first, and they said there's no gold here and just damn cod, so they went back. I don't know if you read a story about that. I read a story about it, and there ain't nothing here. It's too damn cold. There's no gold. There's this stupid codfish. We're going back to Norway. See you later. But that was way before Columbus came to North America,
right.
But then they're just like, I mean, obviously America and Canada are very diverse cultures, and it's the Canadian American dream of coming from, like, unfortunately now there's that war in Ukraine. And very interesting, on Sunday I went to Sunterra in my neighborhood and got a coffee and just talking to the gentleman. Oh, you're from Ukraine? And I've been there. And he's like, oh, like, and I know a little Russian, not that much Russian, Ukrainian, but he was just quite impressed. But I think it's just interesting to expand your mind and bring other people in, but especially with Canada. I mean, just being a multicultural country, and motorcycling is going to diversify. And you go to these countries, I mean, they're not driving around in cars. You go to the Philippines, they're riding scooters all day long.
Yes.
I've ridden down in Colombia. We went down to Cali, Colombia, which is kind of a cool rustic city. I recommend you going there, but everyone's on a bike.
Right.
That's just the way of transportation, because it's cheap. Yeah. Same in India. KTM manufactures a ton of bikes out of India. Well, why not? Because number one, transportation's motorcycle. They come to Canada, and I think it's like, okay, now we have to drive a car, but they're raised on bikes because gas is cheap and it's an easy way to get around, and plus the weather's good all year round.
Right.
Yeah. So it just makes sense that they'll be
working for Honda. I heard a statistic or whatever that we sell more motorcycles in the Philippines in a week.
Yeah.
Than we do in Canada in a full year.
Oh, yeah. Well, you get a typical guy like me goes in, like, you yin and yawn about the bike and come back in 2 weeks to buy the bike. Even though I should have bought the bike the first day. Typical Canadian buyers. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Grover Law Bike Nights will be in 2025.
Oh yeah. We're gonna keep it going,
and once a month.
Yeah, once a month. That's enough. We gotta litigate cases. We gotta take care of our clients. I mean, I gotta have a life, and I know other groups have like once a week, and I think the whole concept of the biker night for Grover Law Firm was really just to give back to the community. Yeah. That's it. and do it a little different because, I mean, I've been to a lot of bike nights, and obviously you have, and we're not trying to make it flashy or trying to steal people to go to other bike nights. If you're a member of OBB, go to their bike nights, support OBB, there's other bike nights, like Ill Fate has got a bike night.
Yeah.
I love Kenny up there and his wife. They're just cool people and they're easy to talk to. But, we came up with the idea of like, let's make it fun. Let's make it family oriented, no alcohol. And our theme on July 25th was a Mexican theme. So we got a mariachi band in there.
Yeah.
We had a DJ playing Latino dance music. We had a neon taco show up, and the first 100 people, dinner was on me. And then, just enjoy it and just see the people coming to enjoy the time. And then, we also thought like, let's blow it out this year. I mean, we want to show people that, we're here for the whole motorcycle community. And the one thing, like, one of my heroes was Walt Disney, Disneyland. Mm-hmm. I mean, he believed in making your dreams come true. And so we went out and bought 2 new bikes.
I was just going to ask you about that.
Yeah. So, we're not trying to compete with each other, but, by the way, our raffle's free.
Yeah, no competition.
And we got some pretty, you got to admit, you've been there. They're pretty sweet bikes. Wouldn't you admit with that?
They're pretty
I'm
nice.
not being humble, right? You got a 2024 Road Glide, the 117 engine with a new 12-inch, screen. They went away from analog this year. And we had to do the shark blue color because we're lawyers for sharks. And then we did a V2 Panigale Troy Bayliss. Obviously, everyone knows who Troy Bayliss is.
Yeah.
From Australia, the world champion. And it's got the nice livery on it. It's got the adjustable
beautiful bike.
Olin suspensions. Perfect track bike. But I don't know. If I'm going to track something, I'm not going to track that. If I wipe out, I'd be crying for like 2 months straight. So that's a free draw. And then the next bike night will be August 22nd, and that we're going back to Barbecue Pit. Mm-hmm. Rob Bolton, you probably know him. He does a great job. I went to law school in Texas, Brisket, Texas. So we're going to do a Texas theme. Everyone's invited, so make sure you come out. It's August 22nd, 5 to 8 p.m. Make sure you're there, and we're going to have a country band, line dancers for the first hour to teach people how to line dance. Why not? It's fun.
Why not? I think it's great. I'm not laughing because I think you're doing something silly. I think it's great.
And then, Rob and I came up with, burger and a drink for the first 100 people. And obviously, Grover Law Firm will pay for it. And just to come out and have a good time. And, we'll have some good door prizes. I mean, $1,000 in gift cards. I mean, we gave that away, and guys and gals were excited about that. Just give back to the community and let people just come together and enjoy the motorcycle culture. And the thing is like, Disney does such a great job of bringing the next generation of Disney fans in there, and I think it's you and I are the age, like, I think it's our obligation now is to bring the younger generation, the motorcycle community. And there are that stigmas and, like the MC gangs and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, it's like, it's a sport, it's a hobby, and you're supposed to enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? And there, bikes have diversified so much now. Like, it's just Harley and, Triumph has got a great bike. I just bought a Triumph.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I finally broke for the Rocket 3. I got the Storm Edition blue, so I got that from Argyle, Glenn LaPointe. He's a good guy. And so, I wanted a kind of a cruiser muscle kind of bike. So I think I'll put on the Hellcat for the side this year because I got the Triumph Rocket 3. Right. So I should have that soon. But I think it's just our obligation is to give back to the community and bring people into the motorcycle community because there's a lot of people scared. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Like, it's a scary hobby, and will I lose my leg, and will they think I'm part of a motorcycle gang and all that stuff? But you got Triumph, you got Harley, you've got Honda, you've got like Yamaha. You got these other KTM. I mean, they just got cool colors. Like, I'll give it to KTM. They got that cool orange.
Oh,
that just gravitates.
Branding is so critical now.
Yeah.
There's a couple companies.
Oh yeah,
really,
and then you got like the pure sex bikes of Ducati. And the only reason they're still around is because the damn Germans bought them out. Audi bought them, and now their R&D is going through the roof. And so it's just, there's such a diversified, even I've got a Vespa too. I got a scooter. I mean, there's nothing wrong with a scooter. You can have there's a Apocalypse Scooter Club. I mean, we support them too. I love those guys.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I love
it. The Mini Moto Mob.
Yeah.
Do you know those guys?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Man, do they have a lot of fun.
Yeah, and then there's the Moto Ladies now, a bunch of group of ladies. Yeah. But I mean, I like Apocalypse SC because my favorite movie is Apocalypse Now with Marlon Brando and Martin Sheen. I just think that's a cool name. You got to give that, you got to give the scooter club that they have a cool name, Apocalypse.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite movies, Apocalypse Now.
Real good.
Yeah.
There was something else I was going to mention to you.
Yeah.
And again, I don't want to hit any nerves here or anything. But I was going to say, I've noticed a change in your social media stuff.
Yeah.
And Grover Law has gotten away from crash videos. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to say thank you.
Yeah.
Because I think I understand the attraction, the draw, why people might want to use them. People who are about motorcycle safety.
Yeah.
Showing the opposite of safety can at one level make sense.
Yeah.
But when we're trying to draw new people into our community, we're trying to get people to try this and know the hobby, man, you show a crash video to somebody's mother, guess what? There is no motorcycle sale happening there. So when I saw you make that change, I wanted to make sure that I took the opportunity to say thank you. I think it was absolutely the right way to go, and I appreciate it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting to make social media fun and interactive, and then obviously try and bring more people into the community. And I mean, that one person that's got a bike, and I'm too scared to go to a bike night because I won't know anybody. Come to our bike nights. Come up and say hi to me. I mean, you're a first-time buyer of a bike and a first-time rider. I mean, if you see me walking around and talking to people, I go around and make sure. I just, you came and I met you. I talked to you. I just like to go and talk to people and welcome to our bike nights. And I want people to feel comfortable riding a motorcycle. You know what I'm saying? Because like you want to go to the gym, like Arnold Schwarzenegger's at the gym. I'm going to look so puny. There's always that initial of kind of shyness of doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the whole marketing thing, I'll say too that SMK, if you've ever checked out their stuff.
Yeah.
Man, I heard somebody say one time that the problem with promoting motorcycle safety is it's not sexy.
Well, it can be sexy.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Go look at SMK's social media stuff. Yeah. They are making helmets sexy.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
So it definitely can be done.
No,
and I think the approach Grover Law is taking now, and I know you've got staff to take care of those things. I think the approach that you're taking now, the plan is really good. So,
well, I think I'm the owner of Grover Law, and we've been around for 20 plus years, and we're up to 25 people now, which is, it's big, and I don't want to get any bigger right now. I want to service our clients, but I think the vision comes from me, and then I have my staff to implement it. And you got to always be progressive, and you got to think about the next generation, and you always got to be on the cutting edge of advertising. I mean, and I think it's important to take stuff from the U.S., what firms or companies are doing there in Europe. And obviously, like safety is sexy. I think so. I mean, I don't think if you're not wearing a helmet, you got a brain injury. I don't think that's sexy at all.
Sexy about that.
And like, I like helmets. Like, I grew up during Star Wars, and like, I like, oh my God, that Darth Vader helmet, that's cool. Yeah. And I was too short to wear one. I look like, what's that guy from Spaceballs? Who's that actor from Canada? It's not Martin. You know what I'm talking about. I know who you're talking about. But I just got a new Shoei helmet. I just saw this. I was down at Jack Carter Power Sports South talking to Davey, and Davey Bloomfield's a good friend of mine, and Dave Smith, and I saw this Mark Marquez Shoei helmet. Unfortunately, they didn't have a large, but then they went out of their way and they found the same helmet in Vancouver, and I grabbed it right away. And so it's a pretty cool helmet, Mark Marquez X15 by Shoei, and I got the blue visor too, and I mean, I think that looks cool. I mean, if I saw a kid riding with that helmet on a Gixxer, I think that's a cool helmet,
Yeah.
I don't think it's cool at all not wearing gear,
No. And you see a lot of that in the U.S.
Well, unfortunately, in the U.S., like you drive down. I've been to Florida, and you drive down the interstate, and you see this guy in a Harley with his hairs, because they don't have. It's a helmet law down there. They don't have it. You know what I'm saying? And fortunately, in Canada, we have that helmet law. And I think it's so important, like we've seen, I think it was Gary Busey wipe out. Remember him? Mm-hmm. He wiped out, and there's a cop I heard in Minnesota. He was just he just took a cruise on his cruiser around the corner and wiped out, went head face forward into the curb, boom, cracked his head open, died right away. Right. I mean, there's all those bad stories, and is it really worth it? No. Safety first.
Exactly, and we'll never eliminate every incident. But we can certainly
minimize it.
Yes,
make it less. Yeah. And it is an expensive sport to get into. I've taken the advanced course with Trevor Deck, and he does let people know it's not just buying the bike. You got to go get the jeans, the Kevlar jeans or the leather suit, and you got to get the gloves and the jacket and the helmet and. It is, there is easily $1,000 to $1,500 in just the adequate stuff. If you want to go get that Shoei helmet, that's $1,700. It's a lot of cash for a helmet.
It is.
It's not cheap, but skiing's not cheap either now too. So
no, it's not.
Yeah, I think if you want to be cheap on a sport, probably soccer is the best. That's why it's probably the world's sport, pretty much.
Soccer, basketball, I guess.
Yeah, but soccer's even cheaper because you don't need a basket.
So listening to your podcast, I've heard you often ask your guest about some element of politics. What do you think of this? What do you think of that? And now that you're pretty successful with your law firm and everything,
I don't know about
that. I think you're doing okay. You just talked about staff, and obviously the growth has been good. What are your aspirations beyond a law office? Are there politics in the future for Steve?
No, I'll leave that to my kids.
Well, yeah.
No, I mean politics. I mean, unfortunately, with social media now and everything, it's like you're under the microscope, and it's very interesting. Like Donald Trump, okay, he's running for president, and Joe Biden stepped away, and Kamala Harris is now running for the Democrats. But you don't get those very interesting. Donald's doing it. We know why. He loves the attention. That's it. Right. And it's a marketing. The amount of money he made after he became president is just amazing.
Yes.
I just think politics is it's there's a lot of my friends here in Alberta that should run for premier or mayor, and they're just not interested. They don't want to be under the microscope, and it's a grind, to be a politician. And then, I'm good friends with, I meet my MLA every 6 months or so, and, it takes a wear on the people, and it's not into me right now. I mean, I wouldn't want to be a judge either. I mean, I just like doing what I'm doing. I like running my business. I like being an entrepreneur, and and the ability to give back to the community and just be involved with the community through the law firm. I mean, my dad always said to me and my sisters, it's a privilege, not a right, to be a lawyer or a doctor or a dentist. And I think you have an obligation to give back to the community.
That's cool.
Yeah. That came from my mom too. So
appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much money. Go ahead.
It's good to know that you're going to be around in a revenue generating fashion for a while and not go into politics. That's good to know.
Unless, there's always the threat of no fault, like BC. British Columbia, like unfortunately in May of 2021, that law went to the place where if you get an injury in a car accident, motorcycle accident, you have no legal right to sue. So that's on the forefront now. I don't know if you're familiar with that or your viewers know about that. So, I mean, talk to your MLAs about that, talk to the Premier's office. I mean, it's just horrendous stories come out of BC where, you know, a lady's crossing the street, Robson Street, pedestrian crosswalk, gets mowed down by a car. She's maimed for life and she has no legal right to sue. You know?
Seems extreme.
It is extreme, but, you know, but unfortunately in Canada, you know, and you talk to Americans, they don't understand that idea. Like, how can you not sue? Is someone,
right. Americans would not go down that path.
But it's also a legal right. Like a lot of people, well, you're an ambulance chasing. No, you know what? At the end of the day, you know, you're walking across the street and you break your leg. Some guy hits you with a car. I mean, he injured you.
Right.
I mean, it's a tort. You know, you have a legal right to sue. I mean, you know, you and I entered a contract, and you know, I borrow $50,000 from you, and I walk away. And like, are you going to walk away from $50,000? You're probably going to sue me, right?
Right.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, you know, you want to. Unfortunately, someone made a decision. They made a choice to not drive their car properly or their truck that day.
Right.
They hit someone and they injured them badly, and they've got chronic pain or a brain injury for the rest of their life. And, you know, you want to put that person in the same position as they were before the accident. There's no shame in that at all.
No. And I think there's obviously common sense is something that we always have to consider.
Mm-hmm.
I had a bad wreck here back in 2016, just over by Stony Trail.
Yeah.
A guy in a landscaping truck with a trailer and piece of heavy equipment on the trailer.
Yeah.
And he suffered a blackout.
Yeah.
Young man, had never had a blackout in his life. Mm-hmm. There was no indication it was going to happen or anything. Mm-hmm. He blacks out, stands on the throttle, hits me from behind, and pushes me into the intersection where I get T-boned.
Yeah.
Now, fortunately, very fortunately, I was able to do physiotherapy, and in 4 months, I was
fully recovered.
Yeah. You know, it was a hard grind and everything else. But in a case like that, I found it really tough to fault this poor guy who was honestly more concerned with me than he was with himself. Yeah. And, you know, the cops at the scene told me, man, you think you're in bad shape. You should see the guy who hit you because he hit the steering wheel and everything. Yeah. So in a case like that, you know, I guess I understood his situation and didn't pursue it. But at the same time, if somebody is texting and does the same thing to you, you know what? You deserve whatever you get.
Yeah, I mean, accidents happen. It's part of life.
Yes.
I mean, you know, the kids are screaming in the back of the caravan, and your attention's away from the road, and you hit somebody, you injure them. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's not about money. It's about, you know, justice and putting that person in the same position he or she was before the accident. And at the end of the day, it's one thing that my parents always taught me is accountability. Yeah. You know, you quit a job and you take company property. I think you should be accountable and return that property to the company. It's not your company. It's not your property. You know, I mean, you know, you got to be accountable in life. Yes. You know, you got to pay your taxes. You know, you got to take care of your family. I mean, it's the big A word that, you know, unfortunately I've seen in society lately, people don't want to be accountable. I don't know why, but, you know.
Well, yeah, I guess views change, discipline changes, the way we raise kids change, all that kind of stuff, and we wind up with differences. But I agree with you.
No, but he made that, you know, you made a certain choice to get behind your car and be drunk. Like, are you serious? Right. Call the taxi and pay $50 to go home in a taxi. Are you serious? Like, you changed someone's life for $50. That's the way I look at it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. There's certain choices you could have done rather than driving home drunk that night or driving your bike home.
And we all make choices.
Yeah.
And we have that right. And
well, it's like the guy that makes a choice to hold up the 7-Eleven. he gets caught and he's charged with armed robbery. Like, we going to let him go? He broke the law.
Yeah,
End of story. You
made that choice.
Yeah,
Nobody twisted your arm.
Yeah. And that's the way life is. It's all a decision. If you don't want to make choices or be accountable, I think you should just live in your house and just stay there and not come out until you choose not to pay your Shaw bill or your Rogers bill, and then there's no more internet.
Hey, what are your thoughts on climate change and electric vehicles and all
I don't
that
know.
stuff?
I mean, climate change.
You're a car guy. You must,
Well, I don't know. The world is so big, and I was talking to a friend that went to Alaska, and he says that the glaciers are eroding, and even in Lake Louise, they talk about the glaciers getting, obviously it is our planet, and we got to take care of it. And I think environmental climate change is important. We have to do all our responsibility, and just be cognitive of what you're doing, and part of climate change also is like, pick up your garbage and throw in the garbage can. You know what I'm saying?
Hallelujah.
Yeah. And that's the easiest.
Agree more.
Recycle your bottles. I mean, some of my staff laugh at me like, I recycle my bottles as cash in my pocket for my kids for candy.
Right.
But as part of being a recycler in Canada, you're doing your part of climate change. You don't have to be out there, hugging trees and you're fighting for the whales. You can just do that little thing and clean up your part of the world, your house, and then people leave trash everywhere. Pick it up and recycle those bottles and cans and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And that gets back to accountability.
Yeah.
And I see kids and straws and Slurpee cups and all that stuff just left. And if we can't be bothered to pick up our garbage, how are we ever going to fix climate change?
Oh, I know. Yeah, like
it just doesn't make any sense.
Like we live on the west side of town, and I take my dogs for walks, and I go to the playground zone. There's like bottles everywhere.
Yes.
Like you can't pick up you can't throw it in the recycle bin.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
not to mention dog poopies everywhere.
I know. Well, pick up your dog.
They think it's natural somehow or something, but you pick it up.
Yeah, right? Exactly. And there's trash. There's trash everywhere you look nowadays, and that's part of climate change. Just a little stuff. You don't have to be out there, changing the whole world. Just do your little part of climate change. And I mean, I think getting onto EV vehicles, I think there's a place for them, and I think technology changes, but I do love that, the V8 engine and the roar of the exhaust going off. Absolutely. And the smell of the gas and all that stuff, it is sexy. You got to admit that.
You didn't ask about the Kawasaki that's behind the Econoline there.
Yeah.
Two-stroke triple.
Yeah.
And I've told lots of people, I just felt like, in this day of climate change and everything, a guy just needs to own one of those stinky, obnoxious, loud motorcycles.
Oh, yeah.
Just for historical value.
Or get a big truck or a big, muscle car or something like that, Yeah. No, I think it's part of life. That, life is always changing. And it's like, you go to Safeway now, and it's like there's no more cashiers. It's all self-checkout.
Right.
I mean, I feel sorry for those people that lost their jobs, but that is AI. I'm sorry to say that. It's a simple thing like that. You're old enough to remember, like me, pulling up to the gas station in Dad's car, and there's a gentleman pumping your gas tank.
Yeah.
That job is gone now. There's like one person, and are we done?
Oh, it's okay. We just ran out on one camera, but we still got two going.
And then there's like a Husky over in Glenmorgan. It's like unmanned gas station. There's nobody there at all.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, it's where the Glenmorgan Safeway is, and there's the Esso there, and then then right across the street there's a Husky, and it's right across from A Cross Elementary School. It's those are jobs gone. And I know AI is good, but we were talking about this at lunch with a psychologist, and just think of all those jobs that are gone.
Yeah.
And, it just impacts everybody, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
But there are other jobs that fill.
Well, what
some of
other
that
job?
gap.
What other jobs would there be then?
Well, maintaining AI, developing
Yeah,
AI,
but you gotta.
working with it.
Yeah, but you gotta be. You
They're
gotta.
not in the same
Yeah, I know.
area,
Yeah.
but, lose a job here, gain a job
Yeah, I know,
here.
but then that person doesn't have he didn't go to SAIT for a diploma or something,
Right.
and then he or she can't get that job again. You know what I'm saying?
It doesn't replace it
Yeah.
for that person,
Yeah,
but
exactly. Yeah.
jobs are out there.
So I mean, climate change is important for next generation. EVs are important, but I do like my gas vehicles and motorcycles. Yeah, and gas boats. Yeah.
So that battery running out is probably a good indication that I'm keeping you here longer than I told you I would.
Okay.
So I do just have a couple last things for you. What's in your motorcycle collection right now?
Oh, well, I got a Triumph Storm Rocket 3 right now.
Yeah.
I got a Lowrider STL Diablo.
And you have the Ducati that's in your
Office.
in one of your offices.
Yeah, I got a 916 Panigale 25th anniversary.
That thing's beautiful.
Foggy edition with the number 1 on it.
Yeah.
And then I've got the Street Fighter Lamborghini, which is complete. Obviously, we got Cherry the show bike, and she did win Bagger of the Year when we went down to Sturgis with it, which is pretty impressive. And then I got an R1M Yamaha, because now those supposedly they're gone, the R1s. I mean, Yamaha has announced that they're not making any more street bikes. They're going to do track only, and I like all the bikes, and I'm looking for that Triumph because it's kind of it's like a cruiser muscle car kind of bike. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool.
Okay, rapid fire round.
Yeah.
Just going to ask you a few quick questions that people might enjoy the answers to. Favorite color?
Black. Johnny Cash.
There you go. I wasn't expecting that.
You can't go wrong with Johnny Cash.
There you go. If you could lunch with anyone, dead or alive, who would you choose?
Probably Queen Elizabeth II. I mean, I was just like, my dad was a British trained doctor. He loved Great Britain. He was a big fan of Winston Churchill. Mm-hmm. I mean, that was, it's just interesting. Like when, she was she was like so amazing, that woman. Like everyone talks about Queen Victoria. She's the longest reigning monarch in the history of the world. Mm-hmm. And, you got to give it to her. Like she gave up her life, when I think her dad abdicated the throne and she was thrown into there, like early 20s. Like, oh my God, you're like, you're in charge of the whole Commonwealth, and just, she kept that family together, with obvious Prince Andrew, with all that stuff going on. And when Diana died, and I mean, I just respect her. And I always thought of her as like a grandmother to me,
Good answer.
And,
Good answer. Favorite motorcycle?
Oh, that's a hard one. I mean, they're all my babies, but probably right now the Triumph Rocket 3 Storm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's the unknown.
It's a new one. It's got the blacked out exhaust and everything. Yeah.
Where on earth would you most like to live?
Oh, probably Miami Beach or Dubai. One of those two.
Oh, Dubai. Dubai's a good choice. Yeah. I like that. Favorite NHL team?
Oh, Calgary Flames by far.
Okay, you're a Calgary
boy.
And rock or country?
I like both, but probably rock. AC/DC, Judas Priest, Breaking the Law is a good song for a lawyer.
There you go. Steve, it's been fun.
Yeah, thank you
so much.
Thanks for having me.
And I'll see you on August 22nd, and we'll take a look at Cherry. And
we'll do the video there, okay? Yeah, all right, well, thank you for your time. I really appreciate you opening up your podcast, and hopefully everyone enjoys it, and they learn a little bit about me and, what I'm here for. And, obviously, you and I got an obligation to open up that motorcycle community, new riders, and welcome everybody. Don't be shy about it, okay?
And don't be shy. Speed and Color on Instagram, podcast platforms, YouTube. Subscribe, follow, like, comment. If you got any questions for Steve, throw them in the comments on YouTube, and I will make sure they get to him. Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate all of you. Take care. We'll see you again soon.
man.
All right, thanks. That was good, eh?
I thought that was great.